Welcome guys to another video. This video is on electromagnetic spectrum, but this video is much different than my earlier videos as I'm going to make this video bilingual. Bilingual means two languages. So I'm going to make this video in two languages, that is Hindi and English, so as to reach maximum audience. In this video, we will try to understand what is electromagnetic spectrum और हम देखेंगे कि इलेक्ट्रोमैग्नेटिक स्पेक्ट्रम में कौन कौन से रेडिएशंस आते हैं और उन रेडिएशंस का सीक्वेंस क्या है. We'll try to understand what is the sequence of those electromagnetic radiations, as well as we'll try to understand what is the range of each radiation, what is the range of frequency as well as wavelength for each of the radiations. एंड एट द एंड मैं एक निमोनिक बोलने वाली हूँ, एक ट्रिक बोलने वाली हूँ ताकि यू कैन रिमेंबर दिस स्पेक्ट्रम इन अ सीक्वेंस. सो लेट्स गेट स्टार्टेड. नाउ we all are aware of different types of radiations, that is IR we know that is used in night vision goggles. फिर ultraviolet rays मालूम है हमको because ultraviolet rays coming from sun damage our skin. Also we know x-rays when we go to doctor if we have a fracture. So x-rays, through x-rays हमको पता चलता है कि कितना fracture हुआ है, कहाँ fracture हुआ है, which bone is fractured. Also we know what is microwave. We have micro ovens, so where microwaves are used. Then visible, our day-to-day life, we human beings can see the light. So what is the visible range for human beings, that we know. Also we know gamma rays. Gamma rays are emitted from radioactive elements. So we have sometimes heard about gamma rays also, and radio waves which we use mostly for communication purposes. So sometime of the other we must have heard any of these X-ray, any of these rays or radiations. These all are, ये सब सारी radiations हैं. और इन radiations को हम जब एक sequence में लगाते हैं उनके इंक्रीजिंग वेवलेंथ या डिक्रीजिंग फ्रीक्वेंसी के अनुसार, तो एक स्पेक्ट्रम बन जाता है. उसे हम इलेक्ट्रोमैग्नेटिक स्पेक्ट्रम बोलते हैं. नाउ दिस इज हाउ इज द रेंज. फ्रॉम लेफ्ट इफ वी गो, इट इज रेडियो वेव्स, then microwaves, then infrared, then visible, that which we can see. We means human beings. फिर अल्ट्रावायलेट आता है विजिबल के बाद, और अल्ट्रावायलेट के बाद एक्सरे आता है, और एक्सरे के बाद गामा रे आता है. सो ये एक सीक्वेंस है ऑफ ऑल दीज रेडिएशंस. सीक्वेंस कैसे है, हमको दिखता है कि इनका वेवलेंथ कम होते जा रहा है. फ्रॉम लेफ्ट टू राइट उनका वेवलेंथ कम होते जा रहा है और उनकी फ्रीक्वेंसी बढ़ रही है. Please refer my video on waves and its type as well as sound waves to have more detailed idea about how waves are getting transmitted or getting propagated in a medium. So now here right now you understand for a spectrum, if we start from left to right, the sequence is radio waves, microwaves, infrared, visible, ultraviolet, X-ray and gamma ray. And also we need to understand that the wavelength is decreasing from left to right. That means, and we are observing that its frequency, उनकी frequency बढ़ रही है. And what do we mean by frequency or what is wavelength? Please refer my earlier videos. Also the link I will share in the description box. See, so this is what is happening. From left to right, the lambda or wavelength is decreasing, or we say the frequency is increasing. Now this whole range is called as electromagnetic spectrum. When all the radiations are arranged in this sequence, then it becomes a electromagnetic spectrum. Now all these radiations, whether it is radio wave, microwave, infrared, visible, ultraviolet, X-ray, gamma ray, all will travel with speed of 3 into 10 to the power 8 meters per second in vacuum. In medium, their speed will slightly decrease, but in vacuum, all of these radiations, irrespective of any of this radiation, all of them will always travel with speed 3 into 10 to the power 8 meters per second in vacuum. However, उनका speed कौन से भी medium में थोड़ा कम हो जाता है. Now here we need to understand why the speed will, if the speed remains same, the lambda and frequency change. We have this relation c is equal to frequency into lambda. This equation is known as wave equation. इस इक्वेशन को हम वेव इक्वेशन बोलते हैं, जो रिलेशन देता है वेलोसिटी इज इक्वल टू फ्रीक्वेंसी इनटू लैम्डा. फ्रीक्वेंसी को हम एफ बी लिखते हैं, इटैलिक में एफ लिखते हैं, और कई बार ऐसे ऐसे भी लिखते हैं, v को थोड़ा ऐसे कर्व करते हैं. सो दिस बिकम्स न्यू. दिस सिंबल इज कॉल्ड एज न्यू, एन यू, न्यू. ओके, ये ग्रीक सिंबल्स है, इसलिए इनका ऐसा नाम है. So this equation right now you understand, c is equal to frequency into lambda is known as wave equation. Now from this equation you can understand, अगर मेरा c हमेशा constant है, speed of electromagnetic radiation if it is constant always, तो अगर मेरा wavelength lambda decrease हो रहा है तो मेरा frequency increase होना चाहिए, ताकि इनका product will make c the same value, right? So that is what it means, that is what is happening here, right? So now, because all the electromagnetic waves travel at same speed through space, a wave with shorter wavelength must have higher frequency and vice versa. मतलब a wavelength with larger, if a wave with larger wavelength will have shorter frequency, so that the product will be same. So right now you have understood here that electromagnetic spectrum में sequence होना चाहिए, और electromagnetic radiations का velocity is always constant in vacuum. In medium में थोड़ा कम हो जाता है, and this is called as wave equation. So here from left to right, the lambda or wavelength decreases and frequency increases. So once again we'll revise what is electromagnetic spectrum. Electromagnetic spectrum is a continuum of all electromagnetic waves or radiations arranged according to increasing wavelength और decreasing frequency. So जो electromagnetic spectrum होता है उसमें हमने देखा, it starts with radio waves on left side and it ends with gamma waves on or rays on the right side, right? So here what happened, it is a continuous of all the different types of radiation. There is continuity in different types of radiation. There is no gap in it. Okay, though their boundaries are not rigid or fixed. अगर रेडियो वेव्स का इतना वेवलेंथ है, विद इन दिस वेवलेंथ इफ रेडियो वेव्स फॉल्स, ओके, बट एट द एक्सट्रीम हियर वो थोड़ा इट मे मिक्स इनटू द नेक्स्ट, दैट इज माइक्रोवेव, राइट? सो द बाउंड्रीज आर नॉट फिक्स्ड हियर. Now electromagnetic spectrum, it comprises of microwaves, infrared, visible, ultraviolet. Okay, this is not the sequence, but it is made up of all these types of radiations. Visible light is only small portion of that electromagnetic spectrum that we have seen. There are no precisely defined boundaries between the bands of the electromagnetic spectrum. Rather, they fade into each other. Right, so they are not fixed boundaries, they can merge into each other. The boundaries are not very strict. उनका बाउंड्री जो है, अगर मैं कहूँ कि माइक्रोवेव्स यहाँ से यहाँ तक है, तो यहाँ एक्सट्रीम में जो उनका बाउंड्री है, इट मे गो अ लिटिल इनटू द अदर रेडिएशन दैट इज देयर और ऑन आइदर साइड्स, राइट? Now what are the sources? The sun, the earth and other bodies or celestial bodies radiate electromagnetic energy of varying wavelengths. Where do these radiations come from? These radiations come from different sources. We have sun, the earth and other bodies. I'm going to make another video in which I'm going to talk about each of these radiations. What is the source, from where they are produced and what are their applications. So that will be part 2 of this sequence. Okay, फिर अब हम समझते हैं कि ये इलेक्ट्रोमैग्नेटिक रेडिएशंस फॉर्म कैसे होते हैं, हाउ आर दे प्रोड्यूस. ओके, बेसिकली क्या होता है, कोई भी चार्ज पार्टिकल्स होगा, इलेक्ट्रॉन होगा पॉजिटिव चार्ज या नेगेटिव चार्ज, इलेक्ट्रॉन होगा, प्रोटॉन होगा, कोई भी हमारे पास अगर चार्ज पार्टिकल है एंड दैट आर एक्सेलरेटेड बाय एन इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड, देन इट प्रोड्यूसेस oscillating waves of electric and magnetic fields. So we have a charged particle and to which we apply electric field, then it start accelerating, and those accelerations, those vibrations will then produce electric and magnetic fields. These electric and magnetic fields are not equal in strength. ओके, इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड और मैग्नेटिक फील्ड का स्ट्रेंथ सेम नहीं होता है, बट दे आर सिंक्रोनाइज, दैट मीन्स दे आर परपेंडिकुलर टू ईच अदर एंड द कंबाइंड वेव्स मूव परपेंडिकुलर टू बोथ द फील्ड्स, thus causing disturbance in the medium. The electromagnetic waves are transverse waves because they are moving perpendicular to the direction of propagation, like this. If this is the direction of propagation, the electric field and magnetic field are moving perpendicular to the direction of propagation, and the speed is 3 into 10 to the power 8 meters per second in vacuum. अभी नेक्स्ट अब हम देखते हैं इलेक्ट्रोमैग्नेटिक रेडिएशंस का रेंज, मतलब हर रेडिएशन कहाँ से कहाँ तक है, वेवलेंथ उनका कहाँ से कहाँ तक है, दैट विल ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड इन दिस. सो नाउ अब तक हमको समझा है कि रेडियो वेव इज ऑन द लेफ्ट साइड एंड गामा रे इज ऑन द राइट साइड. So here we understand कि wavelength is keeping on decreasing when we go from left to right, and vice versa frequency will increase when we go from left to right. So now for radio waves it is 1 kilometer to 1 millimeter. And 1 millimeter is what, 10 to the power minus 3 meter. So we understand, हमको समझता है रेडियो वेव्स अगर वेवलेंथ यहाँ से 1000 से 1 मिलीमीटर मतलब 0.001 मीटर तक जब वेवलेंथ होगी, दिस इज वन वेव. सो इसका वेवलेंथ अगर ये रेंज में फॉल होता है, देन दैट विल बी कॉल्ड एज अ रेडियो वेव. So this ranges you need not remember, but at least understand what would be their range. So radio wave is the longest wave and gamma ray is the shortest wavelength. Then is the microwave. Microwave is from 1 millimeter to 25 microns or micrometers, that is 10 to the power minus 6 meters. Micrometer means 10 to the power minus 6 meters. Then infrared is from 25 microns to 750 nanometers. Nanometers मतलब और कम होते जाता है. So it is 10 to the power minus 9 meters. Then is visible. Visible means what, हम human being को जो range दिखता है, that is wavelength range है, वो है 750 nanometers to 400 nanometers. और ultraviolet is from 400 nanometers to 1 nanometer, and X-rays is still smaller, 1 nanometer to 1 picometer. Picometer means 10 to the power minus 12 meters, and gamma ray is the smallest. So अभी हमको समझा कि wavelength, now we have understood and you should remember that wavelength is decreasing from radio to gamma. कोई चार्ट्स में इसका उल्टा भी देते हैं, जैसे उन लोग स्टार्ट करते हैं गामा से, लेफ्ट साइड में गामा है, फिर उसके बाद सीक्वेंस तो वही रहेगा, फिर एक्सरे आता है, फिर अल्ट्रावायलेट आता है, फिर विजिबल आता है, फिर इंफ्रारेड आता है, माइक्रोवेव आता है, और लास्ट में इधर रेडियो देंगे. सो इन दैट टाइम क्या होगा, फ्रीक्वेंसी इज डिक्रीजिंग फ्रॉम लेफ्ट टू राइट एंड वेवलेंथ इज इंक्रीजिंग फ्रॉम लेफ्ट टू right. So ऐसे होता है. So you should be careful what way you are talking about, right? Any way you can talk, important is that you should remember the sequence. You can go this way or you can go this way, लेकिन गामा, एक्सरे, अल्ट्रावायलेट, विजिबल, IR, माइक्रोवेव, रेडियो, या फिर रेडियो, माइक्रोवेव, infrared, visible, ultraviolet, X-ray, gamma ray. Okay, so radio is always the maximum wavelength and gamma ray is the minimum wavelength, and it starts with 1 kilometer from radio and ends at 1 picometer, less than 1 picometer for the gamma ray. Now we'll understand frequency. Frequency कैसे vary होता है. So frequency starts with, it keeps on increasing from left to right. In our case, from radio to gamma. That means radio will have the least frequency. Then comes, and that is in the range of 10 to the power 11 hertz. Then microwaves is 10 to the power 11 hertz to 10 to the power 13 hertz. And infrared is 10 to the power 13 to 10 to the power 14 hertz. Visible is 4 into 10 to the power 14 to 7.5 into 10 to the power 14 hertz. Then ultraviolet is 10 to the power 15 to 10 to the power 17 hertz. X-ray is still higher, 10 to the power 17 to 10 to the power 20 hertz. And then gamma is the highest range, that is 10 to the power 20 to 10 to the power 24. यानी कि increasing frequency, so gamma is 10 to the power 24 hertz and it started with frequency of 10 to the power 11 hertz. So this range approximately you should be able to remember, but visible का तो सारा बराबर से याद रहना चाहिए, because that is what we human beings fall into. So with respect to wavelength, it is 750 nanometers to 400 nanometers, and if we talk in terms of frequency, so it is 4 into 10 to the power 15 to 7.5 into 10 to the power 14, 4 into 10 to the power 14 to 7.5 into 10 to the power 14 hertz. So approximately just remember the ranges around which these frequencies or wavelength fall into. Now अब मैं बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग फैक्ट बोलने वाली हूँ विच विल हेल्प यू टू रिमेंबर दिस सीक्वेंस. ये सीक्वेंस बराबर से याद रहना चाहिए, इसलिए आई एम गोइंग यू टू give you a mnemonic. What is a mnemonic? Radio Mirchi invaded Victoria with ultraviolet X-ray guns. Okay, रेडियो मिर्ची हमको तो मालूम है, रेडियो मिर्ची चैनल है, समझ लो विक्टोरिया कोई टीवी का चैनल है. सो रेडियो मिर्ची ने अटैक किया, इन्वेडेड मतलब अटैक किया, दिस मीन्स अटैक विक्टोरिया, सम चैनल ऑन टीवी यू कैन अंडरस्टैंड. विथ कैसे अटैक किया? विथ अल्ट्रावायलेट एक्सरे गन. ओके, दिस इज जस्ट fictitious mnemonic that you have to remember. We just want to remember the sequence, hence we are building some way to remember it. So it is रेडियो मिर्ची ने इन्वेड किया विक्टोरिया विद अल्ट्रावायलेट एक्सरे गन्स. सो रेडियो मिर्ची तो हम याद रख सकते हैं, इन्वेडेड अटैक किया विक्टोरिया सम चैनल ऑन टीवी विद अल्ट्रावायलेट एक्सरे गन्स. सो रेडियो आर, रेडियो वेव्स, मिर्ची एम मीन्स microwaves, invaded का in will stand for infrared, then Victoria VI will stand for visible, then ultraviolet, then X-ray, and then gun. So this is how you can remember Radio Mirchi invaded Victoria with ultraviolet X-ray guns. So that's all in this video. This is part 1 of electromagnetic spectrum. I am going to do part 2 for electromagnetic spectrum, in which I will be talking about how these radiations are produced or generated, and where they are used, or what are their applications. So in this video you have understood how radio waves are form, like charged particle is required to form a light wave, not radio wave. All the electromagnetic spectrum to be formed, we require a charged particle which is accelerated by an electric field, and it keeps on oscillating to have a electric and magnetic field which is perpendicular to the direction of propagation. Then we have seen different types of radiations, and we have understood how they vary with their wavelength and frequency. And now we have understood how we can remember this with the help of a mnemonic. Practices the mnemonic, this sentence 2-3 times, it will automatically be thorough with you. So what is the statement? Once again repeat it. Radio Mirchi invaded Victoria with ultraviolet X-ray guns. So fine, that's all in this video. Do like, share and subscribe the channel for more such videos. Thank you.